So, dear listeners, welcome back to the ASEF podcast. My name is Jakub Timothy Stoyanov Kunda, ASEF Fellow 2021 and host of ASEF series Insights from the Top. In this series, our goal is to chat and get inspiring insights from well-known and respected Slovenian leaders and entrepreneurs who share with us their thoughts about their core values, lessons learned throughout their careers, and their vision for Slovenia regarding their field of expertise. ASEF Podcast is part of ASEF for the American Slovenian Education Foundation, an organization that aims to enhance American and Slovenian educational activities and unite Slovenian scholars, students, and entrepreneurs from around the globe. Today we are hosting Mr. Jure Knez, leading figure of the company Dewesoft, an international company specializing in measurement instruments, as well as founder of the business accelerator Katapult. Mr. Knez, we are honored to have the opportunity to speak with you today.
Yeah, hello, and thanks for the invitation.
Let's start with the beginnings of your entrepreneurial career. So you studied at the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, graduating in 1996 and completing your PhD in 2002. So my first question would be, what drove you in your early years, or how would you describe the contribution of these early years towards your future career?
Yeah, I was always working heavily in the industry from the secondary school, also mechanical engineering. And then throughout the university, I was in close contact with the industry. And then my mentor on the new university, he invited me to do first the Master of Science and then the PhD. But he said, I don't want to see you at the university, at the faculty at all. Go around and learn and make the products for the industry. So he was also inspiring me very much to go out there and explore the world and already do real work. So Dewesoft was created in the year 2000, still at the time when I was doing the PhD.
Could you describe the beginnings of the company? So how did you manage to secure enough capital in the beginning, and how did the company operate in its early years in general?
I started with my private company, and then for 2 years I was working in the more or less Slovenian industry, and then got some contact around Europe in the field of what we were working on, and this is the field of test and measurement. And in the year 2000 we created Dewesoft company as a result of this work, and startup capital was really low, so we were always bootstrapping. We were growing the company organically and never got any bank loan or anything else until today.
Dewesoft is nowadays one of the world's leading manufacturers of measuring instruments. So what would you point out as, in your opinion, the company's greatest success, or what are you most proud of?
Basically, from the early beginning, we are trying to solve customer problems or challenges, and then in this aspect, we are helping the most well-known companies in the aerospace, automotive, industrial industry. So our instruments are used in the R&D process. So let's say when the Tesla or Mercedes is developing a new vehicle, a new car, our instruments are used to validate if the simulation corresponds to the data which is measured from the prototypes. So being there as an engineer in those research labs, seeing those prototypes, working on them, is still today the most rewarding part of our journey. So just a few days ago, for example, European Space Agency concluded the combined test of the new Ariane 6 rocket, and more than 800 channels of our instruments are on the launch pad. We were there personally in 2021 to assist with setting up the system, making sure that everything works correctly. So after such great success, we are very proud to be a part of such projects.
On the other hand, what would you say has been the biggest problem or challenge you have had to face during the company's operation?
I think the biggest issue is always when the company is growing to find really colleagues which are sharing the same passion, same mentality. So our company is growing rapidly in the last few years, and maintaining the culture is a challenge. But the young engineers, the young colleagues which are coming are also full of energy, full of new ideas, and they are also driving force of the company. But to have everything, to make everything synchronized and to fulfill customer requirements is a challenge, considering all the issues we had in the last years with the COVID, with the crisis of semiconductor, with energy issues, and so on.
So touching on that a little bit, how has that? Could you describe how have these issues affected your company, like COVID, for example?
Yeah, we are practicing employee ownership structure. So we are inviting every employee after 1 year to become also the member, owner of the company. So we are selling our shares at a very low valuation, at the value of capital. And then this system works nicely. Every system works nicely when everything is fine. And then you're waiting for the crisis to see if it really works in reality. So when the COVID came, the research and development guys went home for a couple of months only, but the production couldn't. And then we had a meeting, and I said, look, we ensured the face masks and all the protection actually from China. At that time, our Chinese colleagues were shipping those masks from their internal quotas. But if anybody doesn't feel safe, he or she can stay at home, and because this will not be gone in few days. And then everybody said, what are you talking about? We have orders, we have things we have promised to the customers. We need to build instruments, and it was really amazing to see how everybody was breathing together. And then over the COVID times, we grew really at a very high pace. So also worldwide, it is similar. We have 20 companies around the world. With some of them, we didn't see each other for 3-4 years, but they were performing really, really great. So they were visiting customers at their homes, in the pubs, in the garages, and so on, in front of the companies to keep the business running. And the customers really appreciate all the support they got through these years. And the company has outperformed others at that times.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You also mentioned the semiconductors. So I would ask, like, some people talk about chip war between the US and China and so on. Has that also affected your company in any way?
Yes, of course. We try to be as self-sufficient as possible. So we have CNC machining centers for the chassis. We have pick and place. We have assembly stations. We have the calibration lab. We have quality control. So basically, the only thing what we are buying are the semiconductors. And the crisis of semiconductors, of course, affected us as well. And here we had quite large stock, so it was not a problem for the first half year to a year. And then we were really in the trying to do everything what we could to keep the production running. So trying to buy semiconductors from all around the world. Again, the sales force helped tremendously. And then also we did redesign of more than 100 PCBs in order to keep delivering the instrument.
I'm also quite interested in artificial intelligence, which is changing everyday life as well as entrepreneurship or business in many ways. So how big of a role does it play in your company, and where has it had the biggest impact on, or where has its effectiveness been most demonstrated?
Artificial intelligence is, I think, one tool similar like internet or social networks, and we need to learn how to use it in a good way. We are using it already at several places, expanding the usage, but also we have seen some of the disadvantages, and I think it's important to judge really the quality of the results, to have always certain critical mind towards what you get out of the artificial intelligence, and use that with great care. However, it's another great tool, great opportunity, which will definitely change our lives, and it is becoming more and more a part of our daily work.
So Dewesoft is a global company, of course. Could you briefly describe the company's presence in the world, or in which part of the world do you have the most or the most vital clients?
Yeah, we have 20 subsidiaries all around the world. Our biggest one is United States of America. There we have more than 50 employees, and it was somehow described as the biggest Slovenian investment in United States when we built a new company facility, which tells a little bit about Slovenian economy, but it is really been a great market for us. And then in Europe, we have more than 10 companies, and also in Asia, we have our own subsidiaries. And normally we divide the world in one third. Like a little bit more usually is sold in Europe, like 40%. And then a little bit less than one third is sold in Americas and in Asia. So we have a fair split between the markets geographically, and then also customers or applications.
So another aspect which you also mentioned already is that the company is employee owned. So I would ask here is what do you think is the advantage of this type of ownership, or why did you decide to pursue it? And on the other hand, what are perhaps the barriers that don't allow more companies to pursue such a course of action?
Our employee ownership structures were implemented in year 2016, where the company was growing. At that time, we were 40 people worldwide, so it was much smaller than today when we are 400. But then we saw that there is a gap between the management and, let's say, deployments who does not have the insight into the business. And that's why we have opened the books, we have started to explain the course of business, and it has a very positive effect. We implemented rewarding system based on the added value of what the company is creating. So it's like a profit share, and then this reward can be either taken as cash or it can be exchanged for the company shares. And this system has proved to be very successful. I would never go back. However, in Slovenia, there were really quite some bad experiences, mostly related to the fact that these systems needs to be designed carefully, and they need to be executed 100% spot on. So this knowledge is now expanding in Slovenia. There are more and more companies having such employee ownership schemes, but we are talking with the government to make that better regulated, because now there has been even disadvantages. So, for example, when an employee buys the shares of the company, they pay more when they sell it back to the same company, so to the mother company, than if it would be sold to a third party. And this is somehow really crippling the employee ownership schemes that was implemented last year. And such things are really not good for implementing new models of work in Slovenia. So I hope that these things will improve in the future.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Your company is based in the Zasavje region of Slovenia, and we often hear about, in different parts of Slovenia, about shortages of employees, especially those with technical education. Do you or have you faced such a problem, or if so, how have you dealt with it?
No, Zasavje is really a great region. We have more than enough engineers to fulfill all the places we need. I'm joking. The problem with the engineering, I think, is valid today worldwide, with all these improvements in technology, with the Industry 4.0, with IoT, with digitalization. The demand of the engineering knowledge is really big, and Zasavje is no exception. Therefore, we are already starting to work with the schools in the primary school, then secondary school, then we are are expanding the project in the universities and trying to keep all the really the best people in our region.
So in connection to this is how do you ensure that your employees have the right level of knowledge at all times in this fast-paced and ever-changing world? So that's one part. And the second part would be, do you cooperate with the research sector of like universities or research institutes or something like that?
Yes, our area of work is quite specific. So in universities, the level of education in our field is limited, and therefore the colleagues needs approximately 1 year that they are able to really contribute to the solutions to the company. And that's why we are working extensively with the University in Maribor as well as University in Ljubljana to make projects where also the faculties are getting more in contact with our world. So I have to say that a lot of really, really great solutions came out of the cooperation with the universities.
You're also the founder of the business accelerator Katapult. So what was the motivation, let's say, for its creation, and what are in your opinion, the biggest successes you have been able to achieve with it?
The Katapult was created around 2016, around 2017, where also Dewesoft started to be more powerful. And the Savia region was after the independence of Slovenia. It went from the really industrial region to more or less a sleeping area. So a lot of companies went out of the business, and then also the people felt into certain personal issues, thinking nothing good will come ever out of the Savia. Yeah, there might be Dewesoft, but they have fallen from the moon to Trbovlje working for NASA. But then we said, we need to change this, and therefore we bought 2,500 square meter of place and created Katapult, where all our infrastructure and our knowledge were given out to young ideas, to the young companies to create their own future. And now, after a few years, the Katapult was full. So now we can't take new members, new companies, because we just lack of space. Everybody wants to get more. And this is for me a really great achievement, that in the small town like Trbovlje or the Savia region, you can get so many young talents working on so many great ideas. And we kind of change the mentality that whenever you have a good idea, there is a bubble, there is a place you can come and work on that, and there are people which are more than willing to help.
For the last part of the podcast, I would go in a more general direction. Where do you see the greatest potential for further development in your field, so in the field of measurement instruments? And where do you see Slovenia as possibly having a potential competitive advantage in this field?
Well, we try to expand our business a little bit in many directions. So out of the general platforms for data recording, we do solutions for power, for noise, vibration measurements, for automotive vehicle dynamics applications, and so on and so on. But we more and more see the drive that standard data acquisition instruments can be used also as real-time control front ends or real-time control systems. So we are trying to, with our new instruments, to connect those worlds together. I think this will be a major drive for the future. As far as Slovenia is concerned, I think in the last years, the environment for any kind of business is getting worse in terms of the tax levels for the work, for the company. And this is more or less driving away also young companies and startups. And this is a major pity. So we need to change it around. We need to make Slovenia attractive for businesses in the future if we want to be successful.
Yeah, so this neatly ties into the last question as well. So what would you recommend, if you have any specific recommendations, to improve entrepreneurial culture and the overall development of business and entrepreneurship in Slovenia?
Yes, we have to follow examples of the countries which are going in the positive direction. We can just take our neighbors, Croatia. They are really, really aggressive in reducing the taxes, into attracting digital nomads, in making an environment very good for starting the business or expanding it. And we really need to follow this if we want to be successful in the future. Slovenia has a great geographical location, it has a great culture, it has a great innovation spirit, and I believe we, or also the young generations, they need to stand up and say we want to have an environment where the entrepreneur is really respected and the entrepreneurship is wanted.
So we enjoyed this illuminating conversation very much. Thank you for agreeing to speak to us, and we wish you all the best in the future and that all your aspirations come true.
Yo, thank you, and I wish you the same, and yeah, all the best.
Dear listeners, we thank you as well for joining us today, and as always, you're kindly invited to tune in to the next episode.